Today's walkthrough I am so excited about because I finally get the coilovers installed on this car and the crap comes off that's on it now. I'm not gonna go over the tools that's required for this install because I don't know exactly what I'll need, but I know for sure it's a lot of steps. So remember when I told you guys I want the the theme for this car to be red, black and chrome. So the coilovers, oh man, is red and black. Wow, I like this color, really good. Nice, man, what a perfect choice. That's awesome, bro. So yeah, that's what it looks like for the back. Also, these coilovers came with adjustable dampers. From what I read online, it's 35 turns, so it's 35 compressions both ways. So it's 35 turns to harden and then 35 turns to soften. So I'm just gonna take all these out to see what condition they're in. They're all brand new. That's no question. See, Amazon is off the chain. I don't know if you guys shop on Amazon, but they be having some really good prices on parts. And it's a CX Racing coilover set, which is dope. I can't wait to install them. Yeah, it even came with instructions. That shocked me. Which is right here. These are the instructions. But I'm pretty sure that I already know how to install coilovers, so I don't have to read that. I just need to read it to understand the damping mechanism of how these particular shocks work. But yeah, man, the coilovers finally came in. You know what I'm saying? Amazon had a pretty good deal. I'm not gonna wait. I can't wait. So they finally get installed today. I'm gonna walk you guys through on how to put on coilovers on the Acura RSX 2004. So let me just finish taking them out of the packaging, and then we're gonna go ahead and start taking the wheels off. You guys have an idea how to do that. I'm gonna start recording again when I get to the actual wheels and the disassembly of the shocks themselves. So now, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen these top bolts to get access to the actual, I'm just gonna loosen them, I'm not gonna take them off all the way. Loosen the front top mount bolts. Now what I have to do is I'm gonna take this rear strut bar off and remove the top bolts for the top mount for the rear, and then I'm gonna take the wheels off and get started that way. I think to do it this way, to loosen all those bolts, is gonna be a lot easier when it comes to actually taking the bolts off. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove the rear strut bar. But where I am right now is very windy, so I can't use sound. So just listen to some music while I do this install, and I hope you don't mind it without sound. Taking out the actual rear trunk strut bar, I have access to the bolts, and for these bolts you'll need a 14mm socket, and I'm just gonna loosen these bolts here, and then we'll be on our way, bro, to get that old factory shock out of here. But yeah, all I'm trying to do right now is just loosen them. I'm not trying to take them all the way out because I'm gonna need them to hold the actual shock in place when I'm actually trying to take it out of the car. So I've loosened this side, I loosen this side, so same thing, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So uncomfortable. And then there it is. Goodness, this is the most shaky walkthrough I've ever done. Once you get the bolts loose, everything else is peachy. Again, I'm not taking it all the way off. I'm just trying to get it loose to where it'll hold the shock in place. And all I have to do is when I get the bottom part loose is just finger loosen these, and then I'll have the shock out of the car. So yeah, so now I've done that part. Let me go to the outside and take the wheels off. I gotta take the wheels off. Jack the car, take the wheels off, and then I'll have access to the bottom. Took the bolt out. Now all I gotta do now is just go to the top, loosen those top bolts, and then this shock should fall right out. So let's take a look real quick. It's right there. So let's loosen these bolts. Oh my freaking goodness. Okay, now that I have taken out the top bolts, the actual shock itself can come right out, and I can change it with the new coilovers. So it's very easy to take out the shock. All you pretty much have to do is just push it straight back, and it'll fall straight down. Like so. And then these are the two that'll get replaced. So this is a Mugen Racing lowering spring, and then this is a CX Racing coilover. The shock on this one here is a factory shock, an OEM shock, and then this here is of course is a dampening high tuning suspension shock. So yeah, so to do the install is the exact opposite when you do the takeoff. I'm gonna run these bolts here up to the top. I'm gonna have these hold in place, and then I'm gonna put the bottom bolt, and then that should be it. So let me see if I can do it now. I'll take these top bolts off. Put them there. Alright, so I'm back. Just installing the top mount and putting the screws back on the actual strut bar mounts. I'm going to tighten these down. I already tightened down the bottom one, but I couldn't do a walkthrough because it was like a lot of birds making a lot of noise, and I can't use that sound. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to tighten these down here, and then when I get to the other side, I'll record the bottom on that side. Man, those birds just came, they swarmed around me, just chirping and chirping and kept chirping, making a lot of noise. And that footage is not good. I can't use the footage. So yeah, I couldn't record that. Yo, I was using the wrong bolts the whole time. How come y'all didn't tell me? Y'all just gonna watch me just put the wrong bolts on purpose. and just tighten them down all the way to about, I think it's 22 pounds, and you should be good. For the new bolts, it's the same thing. It's a 14 millimeter. See it? It's a 14 millimeter that goes on the new bolts as well. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. These now are adjustable. I haven't adjusted them yet. I think when they come factory or when you buy them, they're right in the middle. I'm gonna drive the car with them middle setting, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna stiffen it up a whole lot. But yeah, so I'm gonna tighten these down a little more, and then I'm gonna go to the front and then start on the front. And whatever you do on one side, you do on the other side, because it's gonna take me entirely too long to record both sides. All right, now guys, as you can see, it's nighttime. I had an emergency and I had to stop the install yesterday. So I just basically been riding around with one rear coilover and all 3 drop springs. But tonight I'm going to finish this finally and get this out the way, because I've been just waiting for too long to get these coilovers on this car, and I don't think I'll have another chance anytime soon. So I'm just gonna try to finish this walkthrough as soon as I can. Okay guys, I'm back. I turned the lighting on. This is a much better. Now that I have the car lifted off the ground, I can go ahead and remove the lug nuts. So enjoy some music while I do this. What I do for extra precaution is always lay the wheel underneath the chassis of the car, just in case the jack stands fail. Now, the first thing you want to do is loosen these bolts, which I already loosened them, and I'm not going to take them off all the way, but I'm just going to bring them all the way up to the lip, to about right here, all 3. So that way, once I loosen the shock, it'll be real easy to take this off, the actual strut off the car. But you want to loosen these because it's going to be very difficult to angle it. So loosen them to about that much, to where you got enough space to where they'll fall down. Alright, so now that I got that top part done, you want to take off this tie rod end. Now, I have a tool to show you guys that is an absolute must. Don't use a hammer. I noticed some guys, they like to hit this, but if you puncture this, you're gonna have a bad tie rod end. Don't hit this, because you can tear it and then you'll have a bad tie rod end. So instead of going through all of that, just go to Discount Auto Parts or AutoZone, rent the tool for, like, I think is 40 bucks, and then when you return it, you get your 40 bucks back. I think that's a safe way to do it. You won't have to have the issue of tearing this boot right here and then having the issue of having to replace it. I'm gonna do a walkthrough on how to replace this if these ever go bad on my car, so that you guys can have an idea how to replace it. But what I'm about to do right now is basically how you replace them, except it's one more step to where you got to take this, you got to loosen this bolt here. Once you loosen this bolt, you twist this off, and you have to remember the counts, how many turns when you take this actual tie rod end off the car. All right, so I'm gonna loosen this bolt here, which is a 17. It's a 17 millimeter. And it's loose. And then instead of hitting this with a hammer, I'm gonna use that tool I told you that I rented. All right, I rented this tool set from Discount Auto Parts, and it comes with the 3 different types, the pulley itself, and I'm gonna use, this is the one that fits my car. So you set this down, right, and then this part screws in the back. Like so. Wheel, and I loosened this with 2 hands because 1 hand wouldn't fit. But basically all you really have to do is you put this underneath and then you pull down. You just keep yanking on it and then it'll eventually pop straight up. And once that pop up, everything else is a piece of cake. So I'm gonna set the actual bolt for the tie rod in here, and then the cotter pin. This is the cotter pin. I'm gonna put the cotter pin right on top. So that way I know for sure I won't lose that cotter pin. So then I just push this straight up, get that out of there, set it to the side, and then I'm gonna take off. Remember that camera kit walkthrough I did not too long ago? I'm gonna disconnect the brake line. This here is a 12mm bolt, and then for the AV sensor cable, this is a 10mm bolt. So I'm gonna get a 10mm socket and then a 12mm socket to take the brake line off and an ABS, and then I will be on my way to take off the actual camera kit. Now for this side here of the camera kit is a 15, and then on this side it's a actual 17, which I have right here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna loosen it now. That off. Take that off. I'm gonna set them down right next to the cotter pin so that way I don't lose them. To take this off is it's a mission. It's not easy because inside of here, remember it has that bevel. If you watch the walkthrough for the install on how to take off, to put on the camera kit in this car, it's a bevel. So you have to push the rotor back, like I'm doing so, and then you twist and turn the bolt. I can't do it with 1 hand. I'm gonna try to see if I can. I'm gonna push the rotor. I'm gonna push the rotor with my knee, and then I'm gonna try to turn the bolt to see if it comes out. No, I'm shaking the camera too much. So I can't take it off, but basically if you look inside there, I have to get it to where I can just push the rotor back and then the bolt to come straight out, but I can't do it with 1 hand. So I'm gonna stop the recording. So now I have the 10mm, 10mm socket, and then I'm just gonna take the AV sensor line off, which is right there. So that way I don't damage my ABS. I'm gonna set that aside also. And then I'm gonna use a 12mm socket, and that goes basically right here. Once I remove the brake line, get that out of the way, now I have access to see inside of there to see what angle I have to actually push the rotor to take that actual bolt out. Once I get those bolts out, everything else is pretty simple. So I'm gonna try to do it with the camera running, but if it's too difficult, I'm gonna stop the camera and try to take it off. Yeah, I can't do it with the camera running. I'm trying to do it with my leg, but it's not gonna work. But basically, all I have to do is clear this point here, and the bolt will go straight through. So now I pretty much have it out. all I have to do now is just basically pull this bolt out. So to do that, see, all that's left is that. The bezel part, this part here, the hard part is already out. I just got to pull it out, but it's kind of hard to do with one hand. So, all right, so I brought the actual coilover over. Get it prepared. Take these, because it comes with bolts. Take the bolts off. I'll put the bolts here, so they're easy to reach. I haven't taken these off yet because I have to take that one. I have to take this one bolt off. Once I take this bolt off, I'll take the ones on the top off, and then the shock off will just fall down, and I just place it with the coilover. So let me turn the camera off to get this bolt out, and then I'll be right back. I'm back. I just found an easy way to do this. Inside of that hole, you just place this. I'm just using a regular small wrench. You lift up, and that bolt will fall right out, just like that. Now this is a bit tight, but to do that, you just wiggle it back and forth, and the whole thing will just fall down. So now all I gotta do now is just take off these bolts here. And then push the shock down, push the whole shock down, and then this whole thing will come out. But I need two hands because it's heavy. It's like 45 pounds. All right, so I took out the old one, and then now I'm gonna put in the new one. The easiest way to do this is to angle the top. You want to get it through them holes right there, and once you get it through those holes on the top, you want to lock those bolts and you want to lock these bolts in place, and then this will just hang. Once it's hanging, everything else is just easy as water. So let me do that. So I have the bolts in place on the top hat, which is right here. I didn't tighten them down. They're not installed 100%. I just put them there to hold the actual shock assembly in place. So now that I have that done, I'm gonna put the tie rod on so that it's a lot easier to put the actual rotor to the actual shock itself. And then that'll be pretty much it. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. Oh, I'm too close. Like so. Then you wanna get the actual bolt for the tie rod in. You want to tighten that on. Change out to 17. Oops, I have it on the wrong way. So then you want to tighten it down. And then you want to get the cotter pin. I always want my cotter pin to face in for some reason. So you put the cotter pin in upside down. I only bend one side. It's not gonna go nowhere. All right, so once that's in place, now the actual shock itself is the hardest part. I have tightened the top bolt, the bottom bolt, and I have it aligned, as you can see right here where it's the top is pushed out. I have it as straight as I can possibly get it on my own without an alignment. But if you look back on the camera kit install, I have a lifetime alignment on this car. I'm gonna take it to the auto shop tomorrow morning, first thing, to get the alignment done. But now I want to adjust the ride height. This camber kit setup came with a pretty easy setup. Came with two of these keys, and basically the higher, okay, I'm gonna explain this right. The higher you turn this, the higher this goes, the higher up the car is gonna sit. The lower this goes, the lower the car is going to sit. This amount right here is 2 inches. So I'm gonna drop the car 2 inches and see how it looks. If I don't like the height of the car, I'm gonna raise it accordingly. So I'm gonna drop it down 2 inches. It's locked into place. I'm gonna use the Allen key to tighten it down. Okay, it's tightened down. It's not gonna go anywhere. So now I have it at the lowest it'll go, which is 2 inches. This is gonna be a 2-inch drop from where it was before. So now I'm done. The shock, the camber kit is actually installed on the car now. I can adjust the dampers, which is on the top, but I'm gonna do the back now, and then I'll do the damper adjustment later. Also, before you drive the car, you want the damper to be at the stiffest position possible. So let me run and get the key, and I'll be right back. This is the damper adjustment tool that came with the actual coilovers, which is in that plastic bag I showed you guys the other day. It basically drops into place, and then as you can see up close, you have soft and hard. What you want to do is you want to turn it to the maximum. Hear the clicks? That's all the way to the stiffest number, which is 35. So it's at the stiffest position right now. Once it's at the stiffest position, you can put the car down and you can drive it, and then you adjust the softness as you go. The reason why is you don't want to bottom out the shock and damage the shock in any way. So by you putting it to the stiffest, you're kind of like safeguarding the shock itself. That's why I'm gonna leave it at the stiffest position right now, and then as I drive the car, I'm gonna adjust the actual shock accordingly. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave this in like that. This is how the car is gonna stay. I think that's a pretty clean look. It's a pretty good look, and I'm gonna get started on I'm gonna put the wheel back. I just tightened down the bolts for the mount, for the strut bar, and the camber is in the back. I'm sorry, and I adjusted the stiffness of the dampers to all the way hard, and I'm gonna adjust them soft accordingly. Once I have driven the car for about 30 miles or so, I'm gonna adjust it if it's too stiff. All right, so let me get back to the bottom to put in that one bolt. The bolt that is this bolt here. Gotta put this bolt back, and then we'll be done. But so far, so good. I ran into a couple of hiccups. That's primarily because I wasn't sure what bolt went where. So let me see if I can get a good angle to show you guys how to put this on. All right, so all I really gotta do is just pull this down and put the bolt through. All right, so I got it in. It's a 17 millimeter, which goes on this bolt here, and just tighten up. Tightening down that bottom bolt, and then I'm gonna put the car back on the ground, and then we're good to go. This was a very easy install. I just did not have the proper lighting, and because I had an issue the other day, it actually took me a while to finish. So sorry about the darkness and the shakiness, guys. I'll try to make the videos much better. I really need to get the suspension changed out, because I sold the drop springs that I had on the car, and the guy that bought the springs from me want to get them sooner than later. So I'm doing this install in the dark only because I sold those drop springs, and the guy was constantly calling me, asking me to give him those drop springs. And I didn't want to install these coilovers without doing a walkthrough on them. All right, so this is all. It's on here. I just got to tighten it with 2 hands. I'm gonna put the wheel back on, and then I'm gonna show you the height of the car, and then tomorrow I'll record a little more of how to adjust the camber on the car and how to adjust the dampering. Okay.
Guys, I got a surprise for you. There's an addition to the world, or there should be coming to the world, hopefully, that I discovered today in the park. I'm working on my car right here, right, to do the install, and right close, not even a few feet away from me, this duck laid eggs. Congratulations, mother. And I'm like right there. That's crazy. But today has been a wonderful day. I adjusted the dampers. I got them right now all the way stiff. So what I'm about to do now is I'm about to go to go get the car aligned. But the thing is, last night when I did the install, I forgot to tighten the coilovers. And while I was riding today, I heard a lot of noise from the suspension, and I just got them tightening up right now. I didn't want to record that primarily because, you know, you need two hands to tighten coilovers. So this is what the car looks like before I've gotten the alignment done. So as you can see, the car alignment is all the way off. I'm going straight right now, and then the alignment is, the steering wheel is crooked. So I'm gonna go to the alignment shop, get the alignment done, and then that'll be this part of the actual walkthrough on installing coilovers. I'm here at the alignment shop, which is there. My car is next, but as you can see, the car's dropped. To me, it's dropped just right. Let me get a little closer. So this ride height right here is just perfect for me. I haven't drove to the track, but I've drove around the city, and I've tried to find like potholes and things like that to see how the car will react at this drive height, and it's just right. I don't have the dampers all the way hard now. I tuned them down 2 clicks in, and now to me they're just right. So it's just right. I corner hard and I don't feel any body roll. Just to show you that it's installed, there is the one in the rear, and then the one in the front. I think it's a bit harder to show. Yeah, it's a lot harder to show actually. But it's done, and I'm just waiting to get the alignment done, and then the car will be done. I took some photos. I don't know if you guys want to see those photos, but I have a slideshow that I'm going to show at the very end. Once again, guys, I thank you guys for watching the walkthrough on how to install coilovers on the RSX Type S 2004, and I want you guys to have a wonderful day. All right, and